Hello students. In today's lecture we will start discussion with the case of combined direct and bending stresses of the beams. So in lot many situations in the engineering field we encounter where a beam is not only subjected to transverse load but also the axial loads. So such situations are very common occurrence in our machine parts. So in the case of when the beam is subjected to only the transverse load, there are the bending stresses which are developed, and we know the nature of the bending stresses. They are tensile and compressive. So on one side of the neutral axis they may be tensile, on the other side they may be compressive. While we know that when a component is subjected to axial stress, it will develop a direct stress of maybe compressive if the load is of compressive nature, or of the tensile nature if the load is of tensile nature. But what will happen in the case when a component is subjected to both bending stress as well as the axial stress along with it? So in all such cases we will observe that the position of the neutral axis or the neutral layer will change because of the application of this axial load, or sometimes it may also happen that it may altogether vanish, so the neutral axis may not be present inside the entire section. So the longitudinal stresses, which are either tensile or compressive, are set up in beam cross section when we are subjecting it to bending. So if you have like a cantilever beam which is shown here, so when you subject it to, let's say, a load of magnitude PB, bending load, so it will cause this beam to flex or bend in the shape as shown below. So because of this load, the top fiber of the beam will be having the tensile stresses, while the bottom fiber will be shrunk in size, reduced in size, and will be subjected to compressive stresses. Somewhere between these two there will be a neutral axis which will be located here, where there will not be any stress present. So this we already know from our previous discussion. In some other case, when the same machine component is subjected to axial load, let's say of PA magnitude, here this load is shown as a compressive load, this will cause the compressive stresses to develop over the entire length of the beam or machine component, or all the cross sections at all the points. So the magnitude of the stress will remain same at all the points along the length of the beam and along the cross section. Now when the same machine part is subjected to both bending as well as the axial load, so such as the case shown here, we have a bending load being applied of magnitude PB, simultaneously we are applying an axial load also. So this will take somehow the shape which is shown below, and because of the bending load there is a tensile stress developed at the top fiber, while the compressive stress developed at the lower fiber. Because of the axial load there is a compressive stress both at the top fiber and the axial and the bottom fiber. So what is happening is, because the bottom fiber is subjected to compressive stress because of the bending load as well as the axial load, so the net stress that will be acting will be the sum of algebraic sum of these the two stresses, sigma B plus sigma A, and the resultant will be the compressive stress. While the top fiber, which is subjected to the tensile stress because of the bending and axial stress because of the axial compressive stress, so the net stress at this point will be the difference of these two, sigma B minus sigma A. It will be tensile if sigma B is greater than sigma A. It will be of compressive nature if sigma A is greater than sigma B. Okay, and if sigma B and sigma B A they both are equal, then the net sum will be 0. So that means the neutral axis will shift to the top fiber in this case. So you see here the neutral axis will change its position depending upon the magnitude of sigma B with sigma A. So if sigma B and sigma B A both are equal, this neutral axis will shift so much that it will reach to the top fiber, and if it sigma A is much higher in comparison to sigma B, there will not be any neutral axis present in this beam at all. So the value of the bending stress can be computed using the formula M/I into Y, because this is the cantilever beam. So you have bending moment of the magnitude PB into L, and where it will be maximum? Obviously it will be maximum at the fixed end. So the load multiplied by the length will be giving you the bending moment, and this magnitude will be PB dot L divided by I into Y will give you the bending stress. And the axial stress can be computed simply by dividing the axial load by the cross section area of the beam. So in this way you can compute the value of sigma B and sigma A and work out the value of the stresses at either the top fiber or the bottom fiber or wherever we want to calculate it. Now let's do a numerical to understand this more clearly. So in this figure you are shown a simply supported beam AB, which is having a span of 1 meter length. So the length of the beam is given as 1 meter. It is subjected to a uniformly distributed load of 40 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so the entire span is subjected to this uniformly distributed load. Apart from this beam is also subjected to axial compressive load of 5 kilonewton magnitude. So at both the ends we are applying the compressive load, and then net compressive load that is acting is 5 kilonewton. The cross section dimension of the beam is given to us, that is width is 80 millimeter and the depth of the beam is 120 millimeter. Now in this question we are required to calculate the maximum fiber stress. So in order to calculate the maximum fiber stress, we need to know where it is going to occur, at which point the stresses will be maximum. And second part requires us to find the stresses of the fiber at a point which is 0.25 meter from the left end A and 40 millimeter below the neutral axis. So these are the two parts of the questions which we need to calculate. Let's start with the first part. The first part is maximum fiber stress. Now as far as the case of the axial stress is concerned, axial compressive stress is concerned, the value of the axial compressive stress shall be same along the entire length of the beam and along the entire cross section wherever we take. So if you take any point in the beam, let's say we take this cross section and we want to calculate the axial stress here or maybe at the bottom point, or if you take this cross section you want to calculate the bottom fiber or the top fiber, the value of the axial stress, compressive stress will remain same, which is simply the load divided by the area of the beam. So that's why it will be same throughout the length of the beam at all point along the cross section. Okay. Now let's talk about the bending stress. Bending stress, as we know, depends upon the bending moment. So wherever the bending moment is maximum, the bending stresses will obviously be the maximum. First thing that comes to our mind. So as this is a beam, simply supported beam, and we know in the case of simply supported beam, the maximum bending moment will occur at the center of the beam. So here exactly at the center, the bending stresses will be maximum. But apart from the bending moment, the stress also depend upon the location of the fiber from the neutral axis. So because the formula for sigma is M/I into Y, so it is proportional to Y. So where the maximum value of the Y will be either at the top fiber or at the bottom fiber. So these are the two places where the stresses will be maximum. But the kind of loading we are having, because this is a simply supported beam subjected to uniformly distributed load, so it will flex in this kind of a shape, causing the tensile stress to occur at the bottom fiber and the compressive stress to occur at the top fiber. So because of that, because there is a compressive stress at the top fiber and the similar nature axial stress is also being applied, so both the stresses will add together. So the maximum stresses are going to occur at the center of the beam, not only at the center of the beam but at the top point of that beam head at the center. So that means at the top fiber of the beam. So that is I have shown here as with the CT. So this is the point where I have shown CT exactly at the center of the beam at the mid span and at the top fiber of the beam here at this point. Now let's do some calculations and let's find out the maximum bending moment. for a beam, simply supported beam subjected to W uniformly distributed load, the maximum bending moment we have already calculated turns out to be WL square by 8. So W is 40 kilonewton and L is the 1 meter. So you substitute the value over here and you can compute the value of the bending moment as 5 into 10 to the power 6 Newton millimeter. Now let's calculate some geometric parameters. So let's calculate first the section modulus. So section modulus of the beam is given by BD square by 6. We substitute the value of the width and the depth as 180 is 80 and 120 and calculate the value of section modulus. At the same time, let's calculate the moment of inertia also, and we can calculate it by simply multiplying the section modulus by y value, that is d by 2. So then you compute it. Either you can use the formula BD cube by 6 to calculate the value of I, which will come out to be 11.52 into 10 to the power 6 millimeter power 4. Now let's first calculate the bending stresses. So bending stress is bending moment divided by the section modulus, and its value will be 26.04 Newton per millimeter square, and the axial stress will be load divided by area, and its value will come out to be 0.52 Newton per millimeter square. So area is 80 into 120, and you divide the axial load 5 into 10 to the power 3 with the area, and you get the value of axial stress. Remember, this axial stress is of compressive nature, while the bending stress can both be compressive as well as tensile. So we already have told you that the bending stress at the top fiber will be compressive. So the maximum fiber stress will be simply the sum of these two, and we can simply sum them up, and the value will come out to be 26.56 Newton per millimeter square, and the nature of this stress will be compressive. Okay. Now the second part of the question requires us to calculate the stress value at 0.25 meter from the left end as well as 40 millimeter below the neutral axis. So that is the fiber position where we want to calculate the value of the stresses. Now in order to calculate the stress, we need to determine the bending stress amount. For that we need to calculate the bending moment at a distance of 0.25 meter from the left end, and you must have remembered our bending moment and shear force diagram, how we calculated the bending moment along the length of the beam. So it will be simply the reaction at the support A multiplied by the x. So let's say this distance is x here, which is 0.25 meter. So RA dot x minus Wx square by 2 is going to be your bending moment at a distance x from the left end. So you substitute the value of reaction A. Reaction A value will be equal to 20 because 40 kilonewton per meter is the value of the uniformly distributed load. The beam length is 1 meter. So the net load that is acting is 40 kilonewton supported by both the support equally. So that will be 20 kilonewton at each support. That will be the reaction. So 20 kilonewton here comes here. X value is 0.25. You substitute other values here and calculate the value of bending moment as 3.75 kilonewton meter. Now the bending stress at 40 millimeter below the neutral axis can be calculated by using our formula. For the bending stress, you substitute the value of m here, you substitute the value of I, which we just calculated up above there, you substitute the value of y equal to 40, and you compute the value of stress, that is 13.02 Newton per millimeter square. Mind it, we are calculating the value for a point 40 millimeter below the neutral axis. As we know, all the points below the neutral axis in this case will be subjected to the tensile stresses. So that's why this value will be of the tensile stress. So the resultant fiber stress that will be produced at 40 millimeter below the neutral axis will be the algebraic sum of this tensile stress as well as the axial compressive stress. So sigma B minus sigma A. So sigma A we have already computed. The axial stress value is 0.52. Let's subtract it from the 13.02. So what we get is the net 12.5 Newton per millimeter square tensile stress value computed at the point 40 millimeter below the neutral axis and 0.25 meter from the left end. Now let me introduce you to the concept of beams of uniform strength. We have seen that the simply supported beams are a very common type of beam which are used in lot many structures, especially in the civil structures also they are very common to see. And the beam, especially the simply supported beam with uniformly distributed loads are very common. So let's first talk about these beams. So we know that the bending moment for simply supported beams which are subjected to uniformly distributed load will be maximum at the center of the beam. So where the bending moment is maximum, the bending stresses will also be maximum. Now as this bending moment will decrease as we move away from the center and towards the support. So towards the support the bending moment will keep on decreasing and it will finally become zero when you reach exactly at the support positions or at the end of the beams. Now if the beam is of uniform cross section, so if you design the beam of a uniform cross section, you design it for the maximum stress which is occurring at the middle of the beam or the mid span of the beam. So that means at the center of the beam, because here the stresses were maximum. You design this beam because of that value of the stresses. Now we know that at the ends there are no stresses present, so therefore keeping the cross section same up to the end will basically result into the wastage of material. So for small span beams it is not so significant, but if the span of the beams are very high, especially like in the civil structure, if you look at the beams which are supporting the bridges, if you have passed under the bridge, you must have seen that there are huge beams which are there. So if you are using them of constant cross section, basically you are wasting a lot of material, because the beam is having primarily the stresses at the middle, and while at the ends it is almost having negligible stresses or the zero stresses. So for the large span beams we need to design in them in such a manner that the cross section area decreases as you move away from the center. Okay, so I can say that I can design a beam in such a manner that the stresses which are developed, bending stresses which are developed, they remain constant along the length of the beam, and they are always equal to the allowable stress of the beam. Such a beam is called as a beam of uniform strength. So what is a beam of uniform strength? I have given you a definition here. A beam in which bending stress developed is constant and is equal to the allowable stress at every section. Such a beam is called as the beam of a uniform strength. Now how can we achieve this beam of a uniform strength? It can be done primarily in three ways. How can you change the cross section of a beam? Number one, either you can keep the width constant and you can vary the depth of the beam. So the width is remaining same while the depth of the beam you are trying to change it. And we see this kind of beams are very common in the civil structures. If you go past under the beam, under the bridge, you will find that these beams are having varying depth. They are tapering off along the end of the beams. The other way is by keeping the depth uniform and varying the width. So you can keep the depth same but vary the width of the beam. So in some kind of let's say the iron structures, or let's say the iron bridges, you will find this also to be happening a lot. And the third way is a bit complex. You can change both width and depth of the beam side by side or at the same time. Now let's try to look at an example and try to understand what I am trying to say here. So you see here we have a beam which is having a span length of L, and it is a simply supported beam. It is supported at both the ends and it is subjected to a concentrated load W at the center. Now we need to design this beam of uniform strength. The first thing, as I told you, we can do it in a way that we can keep the width constant and we can vary the depth of this beam. So let's say we are going to keep the width of the beam B as constant and we will vary the depth. So our depth of the beam will be function of, let's say, the x. X is the distance from the left hand support. So as the x changes, our depth is going to get changed. So I can say that the section modulus, which is BD square by 6, will be here given by BD x square by 6, because the depth of the section at point x is given by dx value. So this is BD x square by 6. Now the bending moment at position x will be given by sigma into Zx. So sigma is our stress value here, and Zx value we have already calculated, the section modulus as BDx square by 6. What will be the value of bending moment at distance x? So it will be the support reaction W by 2 multiplied by the distance x. So that is going to give you the bending moment. So because the support at here or this end, they will be W by 2 both. So support reactions will be W by 2 multiplied by distance x will give you the bending moment. So this bending moment should be equal to sigma times of Z. So that is what this equation is telling you. So if you take this equality and you solve it for the dx, you will get the term dx is equal to under root 3 by 3wx divided by sigma b. As w is the applied load which is given to you, sigma is the permissible stress for this beam material, so that is given to you, and b is the width which you are keeping it constant. So all these values are constant, so I have bring them out as c, and this depth of the beam will become c times of under root x, or dx depth of the beam is proportional to under root x. So depth as varying with or being proportional to under root x, so variation of depth will be parabolic in nature. So at the center, if you substitute x equal to L by 2, you can calculate the value of depth as under root of 3WL divided by 2 sigma b. So this is the value which you obtain for the exactly at the center, the depth of the beam at the center. At the ends it is going to be 0, because at x equal to 0 the depth will be 0. So at extreme ends you can see in this figure. So let's focus on this figure. Here I am talking about this figure here. So at the ends it will be 0. At the center it will be having height dc, and it will be having this parabolic shape which will be given by the equation which I have shown you here. So how many of you have noticed such kind of a beam in under the bridges? Please go again and see that. Now keeping the depth constant. The other way to obtain the beam of uniform strength is by keeping the depth constant. So our d is constant, we are going to vary b. So b is a function of x, so I have written it as bx. So zx will be coming equal to 1 by 6 bx d square. So in way we are going to equate sigma into zx value with w by 2 into x, which is the bending moment at x location. So that gives me the value of bx as 3 times of w divided by sigma d square into x. Now as w sigma d is constant for the given problem, so bx will become equal to c times of x, or bx is proportional to x. So it is varying, the width of the beam is varying linearly with x. So at x equal to L by 2 you can compute its value also by substituting x equal to L by 2. So you see this is going to give you this diamond shape beam. So this is the kind of a plan of the beam. If you look at the, let's say the side view, this will be like this. So he is supported here and there will be subjected to W. So this is a perspective view which I have drawn to you. So this is the kind of a diamond shape that you will get. The constant depth d will be there, and at the center the depth will be width will be bc, and at the ends the width will be 0, because at x equal to 0 your width will be 0. So this is the kind of a shape, a diamond shape, that will take the beam will take for the uniform strength. Now let's do one more numerical, and now this time we have a numerical in which we are given some data. We have a simply supported beam of 2.4 meters span. The span of the beam is given to us here, and with constant width of 100 millimeter. So the width is constant and throughout its length. What we need to do is to vary the depth of the beam. So the depth at the center is given to us, it is 125 millimeter. So here at the center the depth is 150 millimeter, and from the center it is reducing towards the support. We don't know really the value at the support how much it is, but it is kind of a reducing, and being at the center is maximum, and maximum which is 150 millimeter, and minimum at the ends. Now this beam is carrying a point load of W at the mid span. So these are the data which are given to us. What we need to do is we need to find the minimum depth of the beam at a section 0.6 meter from the left end, so that the maximum stress at this section is equal to that at the mid span. So we are going to locate this section. I have shown this section as XX, which is 0.6 meter from the left end, at this point, at this section, the maximum stress that developed should be equal to the maximum stress at the center. That is the question. That is the thing that is given to us. So we need to design it in such a manner. We need to calculate the depth for the section XX so that the stresses at this point is exactly equal to the stresses, maximum stresses at the center. Let's do the calculations. So bending moment at C will be given by W by 2, reaction at the support multiplied by the half of the length of the beam. So W by 2 into 1200. So that gives you the bending moment at the center. Similarly, we can calculate the bending moment at a distance of 0.6 meter from the left end. So the reaction at the support is W by 2 RA multiplied by 600 millimeter. That gives you the value of bending moment as 300 W Newton millimeter. Now the section modulus at center will be BD square by 6. You are already given the width as B as 100. The depth is also given to us as 150. So that computes to 3,75,000 millimeter cube. And for the section modulus at distance x from the left end will be given by BD x square by 6. The width is constant, that is given to us B. Dx we don't know, that we need to compute. So B into dx square by 6 will give you the 50 by 3 dx square. Now we know that the stresses at the center will be m by z. So that gives us the value of sigma c as shown here, and stresses at point x will be m by z also, and we substitute the corresponding value of mx and zx here in order to compute the sigma x as 18w dx square. Now in the question we have been given that the stresses at section XX should be equal to the stresses at the center. So let's equate these two. So we are going to equate these two values, and when we equate them, this W and W will get cancelled out, and we can compute the value of the depth at section X as 106.01 millimeter by this method. So in the today's class we have done some case of beam of uniform strength for a simply supported beam, and I would suggest that you do the case of other cases also. Like you can find a beam of uniform strength for a case in which the beam, simply supported beam, is subjected to uniformly distributed load instead of a point load. Or you can have a cantilever beam which is subjected to point load, and you need to design it so that its strength remains uniform, a beam of uniform strength. So how the section will vary in both these cases I have given, please try to solve it as your home assignment.